Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Common Ground, and I'm Jason Downs. Welcome to a place where we can all agree on the important stuff, like healthy food, healthy soil, and a healthy future for our kids. Which is why we have a very special guest from the California Organic Center with us today. We also have Mr. Lou Esbin trapped in the basement, I hear.
Let me out.
He's our attorney in residence. That's why we keep him locked in the basement.
Who do we have a lawsuit waiting for us after this is all said and done?
I know. We're also lucky to have my friend Bobby Marchesso here back on the show to continue his investigative journalism on whether or not we uptight liberals can be funny.
Right.
Yeah.
In fact, I was wondering about the opening piece there where it said, the views of the station don't necessarily reflect. Is that because of you?
Yes.
They put that up there.
Interesting.
Interesting.
That's the disclaimer is there because of me, and probably
funny.
because Lou recommended.
Yeah.
As our attorney. Anyhow, you'll want to stay tuned for our new game show today, which we're going to try out for the first time. I think it's called Roast the Host, or Sling the Left Wing, or Wrestle the Progressive, depending on.
How many? First, we're going to have a contest so you can name that contest.
Yeah, we're going to figure out.
And then.
Yes, exactly. We'll give you a chance to call into the studio, but everyone has to be on their best behavior because we don't want to give you, our station owner a heart attack. We love her. We want her to stick around for a long time. And this show is also supposed to be a platform for civil and respectful discourse, where we can find our way back to a common language for our differences and disagreements. Sounds good to me. You'll also get to hear Bobby, do his game show host impression.
Oh,
which.
Well, now I'm on the spot. That's right. Thank you, Jason.
So today is March 22nd, and I'm so glad you've joined me here on Common Ground. Here's to a great show, a great day, and a great week for all of us.
Amen.
Our show is sponsored by Denny & Company, LLP Certified Public Accountants. They make your life less taxing, and the law offices of Lou Esbin. When experience counts, count on experience at espinlaw.com. Now, I recently watched a documentary that made a huge impression on me. It's a few years old now, but you can still catch it on Netflix. It's called Kiss the Ground, hosted by Woody Harrelson.
Ooh.
This led me to put inquiries out to many of the people involved in the film's subject, which is restoring carbon to our soil. Doesn't sound very sexy, but I'm telling you, this made...
Oh, I don't know.
I mean...
You put on a Speedo and walk out there. I'm telling you, we could jazz this thing up.
Well, okay. I guess we'll explore that. Turns out this is going to be an essential endeavor for the future of humankind, restoring carbon to our soil. We first saw the maleffects of the way we till our soil during the Great Depression. A series of droughts combined with non-sustainable agricultural practices led to devastating dust storms, famine, diseases, deaths related to breathing dust, known as the Dust Bowl. This caused the largest migration in American history during the 1930s. Again, severe drought and a failure to apply dryland farming methods to prevent the aeolian processes, which, I know I'm getting technical here, which involve erosion, transportation, and deposition of sediment by wind. And all of that caused this phenomenon.
So we screwed up the dirt.
Yes.
Is what you're saying.
Yes.
There's a lot of big words.
Thank you. I practiced
That's
that
interesting.
at home.
So man,
yes,
technically, right, or figuratively, screwed up the soil in so many areas because of farming methods that they are using and should have been using something else instead, and now it's hurt our land.
Exactly,
right?
And we've
so
been
now
doing
we're hurting
that.
the air and the land.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And we've been doing that for enough years now, and this is why I invited Mr. Nathanael Gonzales-Siemens here today to speak to us, to find out if we have learned our lesson since the Great Depression or not.
I'll tell you right now, we have not. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
We have not.
So please welcome Nathanael here. Thank you so much for being with us today, sir. We'll try not to scare you.
You know what I find? You know what I find interesting, Nathanael, if I may. There's always a lot of advocates for the clean air and pollution and the whole green energy type of thing. But I don't think I've really ever heard of anybody advocating for the soil, the everything below, right?
Right.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, no, it struck me as very new as well,
Yeah.
but it also was very tangible. So we'll let Nathaniel talk in just a second. We'll keep rambling
I think
on.
you
Why
and I
not?
should just talk about it.
Um, since
Nate, we'll call you
we're
later, buddy.
we're the
Thanks.
authority, but Nathaniel works at the Rodale Institute, the California Organic Center here, and they are the leading source of information for regenerative organic agriculture in California, offering world-class research and education programs that provide viable solutions to farm needs. And anyhow, tell us how it's. I want to say this about Nathaniel as well before I let him talk. He calls himself an almond schlepper,
Oh,
dealer, and aficionado.
well, which one is it, bud? Okay.
It's all
That's
three.
like having three different names for a contest. Tell me, what do
Which
you
is
call yourself? What do you do?
It depends who's asking. So,
Right.
I see you. You looked at my old Facebook page, though. That's good.
I do my research.
It was MySpace.
MySpace. My goodness, I didn't even know that it still existed.
So Nate, tell me. So this is new to us, but it's not new to you, right? You've been doing this
he
for a
studied
while.
plant genetics and biology at UCLA.
Thank you, Nathan.
And he grew up on a small farm in
Oh, really?
California, San Joaquin Valley.
Oh, thanks again,
Founded
Nathan.
two businesses there, which are
Okay.
still being run. One by his brother, that's focused on food justice and sovereignty, which I can't wait to hear about. And the other is run by, I believe, his wife, which implements
right, yeah.
regenerative farming practices, which equips and empowers traditionally underrepresented groups.
Okay. Wow.
So-
Why is Nathan here again? I could have learned everything right there from your little sheet. So Nathan, tell me about yourself.
Nathan, what did we learn from the Dust Bowl during the Great Depression? Or are we still learning the same lessons?
We are still learning the same lessons. That's human nature, right? Just keep on learning the same lessons over and over. But that's our lot. But it's also I guess it makes the spice of life too. Makes things interesting a little bit too. Makes for good radio shows maybe.
We're hoping. We are hoping.
The Dust Bowl is obviously a kind of a low point in our agricultural history, but it's only the most visible one because there's if we talk about farming today, there's the use of chemicals, the use of synthetic fertilizers, confined animal
Toxic.
operations. Yeah, the groundwater pollution. I mean, the list goes on and on of the problems that farming has caused. I mean, that obviously farming is a good thing. We have to farm, but we haven't done a good job of it yet. But first and foremost on that list, at least in kind of in global terms, is carbon. The release of carbon from our agricultural soils is the reason why we are in the midst of a climate conundrum right now. It's people think of pollution, they think of factories and cars belching out smoke, but in real terms, the biggest reason why we have this problem is actually the carbon released from the soil from tillage. So,
which was so eye-opening for me. I mean, and this film, these images that they were able to illustrate really of tilling the ground, the way that we till the ground, basically what releases the carbon, which is essentially needed to grow the best crops on the planet, right?
Yep.
So it releases it
Yep.
into the atmosphere, right? And that's why we're seeing this I guess rapid decline of soil quality, and therefore sort of this this vicious cycle, right?
Yeah, that's right. And then that's why we till, because it releases that carbon, releases the nutrients that are stored in the soil, and they're then available for crops. But if you keep on doing that year after year after year, they're all gone. They get released mostly into the atmosphere. Actually, the crops don't even use the majority of the carbon and nitrogen that's been, locked up in our soil, been building up over eons. And, as, plants and roots and animals die, they get incorporated into the soil, and that becomes carbon and nutrients that are then available for future generations of plants. When you till it, most of it is released into the atmosphere. So it's the
we're going to take a break in just a moment, okay? But when we come back,
yeah.
I want you to tell us what you have done and what you've discovered and what was revealed in the film to be the answer to this fairly, universal problem, but a fairly simple solution, which was exciting to see in the film too. So let's take a break. We're talking to Nathanael Gonzales-Siemens right here on Common Ground. I'm with Bobby Marchesso and Lou Esbin, and of course, Patty Schwanke on the board.
Hi, it's good to have you here.
Very great indeed.
We'll be right back. Common Ground, KHTS 98.1 FM and AM 1220.
This is Bradley from Santa Clarita Grocery, the all-volunteer grocery program serving children, families, and individuals experiencing food insecurities. Since January 2020, Santa Clarita Grocery has distributed 83 tons of fresh groceries to 4,465 families in the SCV. Santa Clarita Grocery is a drive-up, drive-through service with physical distancing in place to continue serving our community. If you are in need or looking for a charity to do the most good for our community, please consider partnering with us by donating to Santa Clarita Grocery, one of the most efficient charities in the Santa Clarita Valley. A full 99 cents out of every dollar goes directly back to the community. Santa Clarita Grocery operates on a 1% overhead and is sustained through private donations. Santa Clarita Grocery is at 21176 Center Point Parkway in the Oasis Furniture parking lot. Please visit our website, santaclaritagrocery.org, or our Facebook at Santa Clarita Grocery to make a difference in our awesome town community. 661-425-7575. Be our guest and experience the difference.
Hi, I'm Miles McNamara, Certified Senior Advisor and owner of Comfort Keepers in Home Care. Our caregivers help you in your own home. A Comfort Keeper can provide companionship, meal preparation, medication monitoring, assistance with personal care, transportation to doctor appointments, all enhancing your independence and safety in the comfort and privacy of your own home. So if you or someone you love could use a helping hand at home, call Comfort Keepers at 287-4200. That's 287-4200.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back to Common Ground. I'm Jason Downs. I'm here with Bobby Marchesso, Lou Esbin, and our special guest today, Nathanael Gonzales-Siemens from the California Organic Center. He is the farm manager there. And we've been talking about the film Kiss the Ground, hosted by, what's his name?
Woody Harrelson.
Thank you. And
You with the papers in front of you.
I was just testing you.
Okay.
And talking about this very sort of, eye-opening revelation for me myself, the fact that the way that we have been farming our soil on massive scales at this point are really doing a tremendous amount of damage, and they're thereby sort of forcing us to farm more and more land, and then forcing more and more carbon into our atmosphere as a result. So before the break, we were talking to Nathanael about that, and I wanted to find out what the solution is and what practices he is putting into place and helping others put into place. Nathanael, take it away.
Sure. So the out in Camarillo, where we have the our California Organic Center, we're working on a bunch of different practices that will hopefully get more carbon in the ground, get the a better water cycling and better nutrient cycling because of that carbon in the ground, grow healthier crops. And it's definitely it sounds like a silver bullet, and it's the devil is in the details of actually implementing it. So a lot of what we do is work with farmers to help them figure out how to do that one simple thing, how to get more carbon in the ground. So it's basically just working off the principle that the natural systems have been functioning on, the ecosystems have been functioning on for all of human history. So farming has been a diversion from how nature functions, and we're kind of hoping to bring things a little bit back in line, bit by bit, into how nature fends for itself and kind of takes care of it.
And you do that with biodiversity, right? First of all, right? It's not just one sort of monocrop across the board. Is that one way?
Yeah, that's one of the key principles in it. Keeping the ground covered all the time, minimizing tillage, getting animals kind of involved in the process, and they're all things that that kind of make sense to us. Make sense to people. You see a green grass and with animals on it versus a tilled up field that's compacted. You can tell, just a lay person can tell that this is a healthier system than not. It's just like I said, it's the trick is how do you implement that at farm scale. So that's really what.
Well, that was my next question. I mean, have you seen that it's possible to make an impact on a large scale? Have you?
Yeah, that most definitely. There's a lot of really creative farmers right here in California that we partner with. Rodale's got not just the farm where there in Ventura County. We've also got a new consulting service where we work with farmers to get certified organic, get certified regenerative, and also to connect farmers to each other, because there's so many smart and creative, young and diverse and old and wizened farmers in this state and on the West Coast that a lot of our job is just connecting them to each other.
One of the coolest things, as far as solutions go, one of the coolest things in that movie that I'd never seen before was, I guess, the invention of a till, that could go on these huge, farming machines and whatnot, that essentially allows the carbon to, it doesn't disturb the soil somehow. It was at a special angle, and I don't know. I thought that was one of the coolest things. Is that something that could be implemented on a large enough scale, and or is that being funded somehow, by the powers that be? I hope.
There's a lot of really creative engineering solutions out there, and that's one of my old mentors like to say, the engineering we can take care of. That's what people do. We figure out solutions to problems. As long as we can, figure out what the problem is first, and now we have some pretty good ideas about that. And I have to say also that there's a lot of other areas of this that the movie didn't touch on, that I'm probably not going to touch on either, like plant breeding. We've focused a lot of time and energy in our society on plant genetics and how to get species out there that can grow really well with a bunch of fertilizer. Well, that wasn't necessarily the best idea. We probably should have been focusing on how resilient they are to climate change and how well they can do in drought resistance. And now that we know that, now that we know what the problem is, people, we've got a lot of smart people in our universities, whether a lot of smart farmers out there. They're going to figure out the solutions, and it's just a matter of,
But Nathanael, I mean, what we're up against is big business, right? I mean, it always comes down to the money, right? Lou will back me up on that. So how do we combat that? Like you mentioned the GMOs, you mentioned the chemicals and the pesticides. That's all big business, right? How do we reverse, I guess, their practices, right? And I mean, is it one by one? I saw that one of the big poultry producers has recently joined forces with you guys, right, to try and start going organic. But I mean, I guess what I'm asking is, do you have hope? Do you have hope at the end of the day?
Honestly, that I'm gonna flip the tables back to you guys there, because I think that you guys have a really critical job in this ecosystem of where's our world going in terms of how do we feed ourselves and how do we how are we utilizing our environment? And that nexus, that connection between the consumer and the research and advocacy that I'm in, and then the big businesses, we're all in the same ecosystem. We're all functioning here together, but communicating between them is really, I think, where we got kind of the short end of the stick over the past century, where now with the advent of social media and with advocates like you guys, there can be a much more robust dialogue between consumers who, if they are demanding well-grown, healthfully grown, nutrient-dense foods and products, then the business isn't stupid. People are going to respond to that, or if they are stupid, they're just going to they're going to be small. People are going to small businesses are going to fill that gap. So I think that it's actually incumbent on people in your place in this economy to give voice to those ideas and to educate the consumers and to also educate the brands that are driving the engines of production.
So why should we concern ourselves with eating organic food? I mean, do you eat?
Yeah, that's
right. I mean, let's talk about that too for a sec.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm not gonna I'll be the last one to throw a rock at someone for eating McDonald's. Far be it from me to
do it, Nathan. Just do it. Tell him, Nathan.
It is. There are some really, really strong scientific evidence, especially around milk and eggs and some of our proteins, some of these kind of higher density food items that it just makes an enormous difference on what you eat. That said, we all have our vices, so it's I'm not going to be mad at anyone for eating their Twinkies if that's what they need to have. But there's, and the same is true with farmers too. Because farmers, they might have half their acreage in organic and half of it in conventional, and it's fine. We're all kind of working towards our goal. It's not that we need to just go all in right now.
We're all just trying to find common ground, wouldn't you say, Nathan?
Oh, beautifully!
Huh?
What a perfect segue.
No, I just now came up with that. So, is there? How does somebody get a hold of you? If they want to learn more, is this a system you're offering, or is this just research that you've done? But it seems like you're in a position to help. So I would think that if somebody were listening or visited our website here, that they could find you, so that you could do your thing.
Yeah, we that's why we're here. We're here for to help people kind of keep moving that dial. And we have a very robust research team, as you kind of referenced earlier. We have a strong and growing consulting arm. You can connect with either or both of those, as well as our education department, just on the Rodale Institute website. And I think that's rodeleinstitute.org. I should know that, right? That should be.
It would be helpful for branding. Yes. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're right. It's rodeleinstitute.org. Rodale, spelled RODALE Institute.org. So yes.
It just saved my job.
You're welcome.
Well, look, we appreciate the work that you're doing, and we sincerely thank you for educating us and continuing to educate corporations and farmers, and we'll do our part as well. I can't say enough about the impression that it made on me and how it changed the way I think about these sorts of things. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Yeah. You're very welcome. Thanks for the invitation. I'm glad that you guys are doing the work that you're doing, having the conversations that you're having, and keep up the good work.
If you have anything else, if you have some updates, or if there's new technology or anything like that you want to get the word out about, be sure to give us a call.
Anytime. Anytime at all.
Yeah. Yeah, we're hoping to have, once things open up a little bit more, maybe later this summer and the fall, have some field days out at our Camarillo campus. So I'll let you guys know when that happens.
Perfect. All right, sir. Well, you keep doing the good work you're doing, and you have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you again sometime soon.
Great. Sounds good.
All right. Have a good one.
Mm.
Lou, I forgot to ask you if you had any questions for the soil doctor.
Yeah, Lou doesn't have anything, do you, Lou?
Let me out.
It puts the lotion in the basket. It does this whenever it's told.
Wow.
No, I think it's look, all of this stuff is coming back to light again after being kept in the basement for the last 4 years. So no, I think it's all important.
Yeah, I highly recommend that film. What were we gonna say?
I was just going to ask, Lou, are you a believer in kind of you reap what you sow, and that some of these dangers and things like that we're seeing nowadays, if man has contributed to, I guess? Answer honestly.
Yeah, no, I think we each have a part to play. I enjoy driving my 1969 Buick LeSabre without a catalytic converter. That it consumes about 70% of the fuel that goes into the carburetor, and I contribute my share to global warming.
Yeah, I think. I mean, it is neutral, isn't it? I mean, there's extremist where you have a horse and buggy wherever you go, or there's completely the other side where you own a factory and don't really care and you'll pay the fines. But I think, yeah, there's little things that we all do, I think. And nobody can fault you for driving your car like that, of course. I mean, that's part of living life as well. But it's not like, you're traveling the country, I don't know, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's, there's little things that we do, I think, that help.
Well, as consumers too, we can choose the products that we.
Yeah. Well, I'm when you talk about that, I am blown away how much goes into packaging a product. Mm-hmm. And sure, you recycle as much of it as you can, but the amount of packaging.
Well, very little of it is actually recyclable too, unfortunately.
It's just that always concerns me. Like, well, Jason, through Rotary, we're trying to put together a rewards program where we focus on the 7 areas of focus in Rotary. Mm-hmm. And one of the first companies that's going to be participating is a women-owned company, and the entire product is made with recycled materials, and it's all recyclable, and it's a water filtration system.
That's right. I love that. Blue dot.
That's great. That's Blue Dot.
So I think like Nathaniel said, we're raising awareness, right? And that's the first step, right. and we're all slowly doing our part. I just hope that it's not too slow, I guess.
Well, yeah.
Well, and has the world come to a point? Look, we all know that naturally, before human beings ever step foot on the Earth would go through periods of warming and cooling. It mm-hmm. just does. Mm-hmm. The question today is, since the Industrial Revolution, what role has mankind played in altering that natural course?
And I'm going to go with big companies that have done that.
Well, that's where you're going to get the naysayers.
Yeah.
Oh, so.
Well, speaking of another documentary, did you see Attenborough's Life on Our Planet? Because it speaks directly to that. He basically is someone with a very unique perspective as someone who has documented nature for the past, I believe it's 70 years now that he's been doing that. And
he's doing it from his wheelchair now.
He's 94 or something. And he made this last documentary that I watched also, during the pandemic. Probably a few months ago, I saw it for the first time. And he addresses just that, Lou. He's saying, like, basically, I have witnessed man's impact on this planet, and when I say man, I mean humankind. Right. And it's also a very compelling and poignant documentary about just that. Because in his opinion and in his view and in his life experience, it has very much been impacted by humankind. And
Well, now remember that Columbus was looking for the Northern Passage, right,
mhm,
between Europe and India, and he so happened to run into North America. But now, for the first time in mankind's history, you can go across the Northern Passage uninhibited, without a problem. Well, where does that come from? Isn't that the effect of the ice melting? Now, some will say the ice would naturally melt, and some would say yes, but is it being accelerated? But nevertheless, it is a fact. The
mhm,
Northern Passage is opening.
Yep.
And has opened, so that Canada, the United States, and Russia are fighting over who has access to it.
Of course. And in comes man.
Right.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, it might be time for roast the host
Yeah?
or sling the left wing
Good Lord.
or wrestle the
Pick a
progressive.
name. Just pick a name.
Or name that too.
Okay, Lou, that's enough now. Get back there, Lou.
Back into the basement. All right. Uh, oh, wow. We've got a Foley artist on our hands.
Right.
That was brilliant. All right. Now, I mean,
Make my cat meow too.
we're gonna we're gonna take a break, a commercial break here. The number to the studio is 661-298-5487. Now this comes with a disclaimer.
Don't be mean.
Exactly.
Just,
And
get your point across,
Be
but you
civil.
can talk about us.
Patty's going to screen you. Nobody, we don't want to give. Got to be very careful here, okay? Very careful.
Is Jerry holding her head in her hands, just kind of
Probably.
shaking her head in disbelief?
Probably,
She's
but
kind of running around in a circle just to the left, and she just keeps going.
No,
I don't
she
know.
only runs to the right.
That's why I'm saying this is a problem. Because it's to the left.
she'll probably be our first caller. Okay. 661-298-5487. We're going to take a quick break. Stay with us right here at KHTS 98.1 FM and AM 1220.
And now, a cooking tip from Keith Mowry of Bob's Country Meats. Cooking brisket is simple, whether you do it in the oven or on the grill.
Okay, briskets come out nice. You want to brown them up real good on the barbecue over medium heat. Season them up however you like. Wrap them in foil. Put them on the other side. Go down to a low temperature, low heat, and let that go for about 2.5, 3 hours, just on low with the lid closed.
For the tastiest brisket in town, visit Bob's Country Meats on Soledad in Canyon Country.
It's allergy season again. You've tried it all, yet your sinuses continue to be a problem. Try something different, something holistic, something that will really work. Acupuncture. Kathleen Keneally is Santa Clarita's acupuncture and innate specialist. She's been treating many of your neighbors and their children for allergies, sinuses, headaches, and pain. Find out how acupuncture can improve the quality of your life. Call Kathleen Keneally for a free phone consultation. 252-4100. 252-4100. Acupuncture. It really works.
The city is opening up, and so is Coyote Creek Locations, right here in Santa Clarita Valley, ranch-style open landscape for you to create your next perfect event. Weddings, graduation parties, bar and bat mitzvahs, baby showers, and birthdays. Any sort of get-together where you can spread your wings and breathe in fresh air, creating memories with friends and family while supporting healthy space and distancing. Spring is here, and summer is coming, so get ready for your next celebration at Coyote Creek. Book now at coyotecreeklocations.com. That's coyotecreeklocations.com.
Hey there, it's Tori with your hometown station weather. A mix of sun and clouds today with highs in the low 70s, overnight lows in the mid 40s. For anything and everything Santa Clarita Valley related, go to hometownstation.com.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
KHTS, your hometown station.
Welcome back. Welcome. This is Common Ground. I'm Jason Downs here with Bobby Marchesso and Lou Esbin. So, the purpose of this show is to create a common ground, right? A common language that brings us together to help tackle the obstacles that stand in the way of relating to each other, understanding each other. And what better way, as proven through the ages, than a little good-natured humor, right? So we thought maybe someone out there might like the chance to roast me a little bit.
As they've done since the days of yore.
Well, I mean, Bobby can only, bust my chops so much, before
I
it
don't get
starts to
tired. I can just keep doing it, but I'm willing to yield the
Hey,
floor.
if nobody calls in,
It's all me.
It might be just you and Lou.
Listen, I don't want to be known as the Don Rickles of this show. I'm just,
I know.
I know.
I know. Yeah,
we know.
We know. 661-298-5487. We've got Patty here, who is going to be heavily screening these
His
calls.
finger on the button, just in case somebody gets out of control. But I get what you're saying.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It's just a matter of there's too many radio shows now that just have one very strong opinion, and it just invites a lot of those same opinions, but to a boiled heat, right? And so maybe we can kind of do something like what you're saying, right? It's just a bit of a different way of doing it. You can still call up, but guess what? We're still, we're not going to be offended. We're not going to get mad.
No, exactly. we can find a common language, and we can laugh about it, and
Or a common ground.
Thank you.
Heyo.
Thank you.
No,
Patty.
wait a second.
I just
Sparky. That reference was already made. You can't just coattail and go, look what I just did.
Yeah,
you
but
can't
that was
do
Bobby's
that.
reference.
I know.
Oh my!
I'm just good for a one-liner. I'm out.
Can I just verify?
Yeah.
Is it a jockstrap on your face right now, or is that a mask?
It's a mask.
It was just hanging low.
That's Lou's favorite type of mask.
It wasn't covering.
Lou, what do you call that again? When it's just hanging on their chin?
Oh, you asked, when it's hanging below their nose,
Yeah.
you say, do you put your underwear on that way too?
Well, apparently he does. I've got news for you. I don't want to create a visual like that, but I got to tell you, I just wanted to get it straight. Oh my God, isn't that common ground? Ever, man. Good Lord.
It's so done. It's done.
It's been done. That was
so done.
So 5 minutes ago. 10 now.
Maybe borderline
Like a
15.
G-string, maybe it looks like a G-string. No, not a G-string. A thong.
A thong.
Is Patty wearing a thong on his face?
Okay, I was afraid not to create a visual, but thanks a lot, Lou.
Lord.
Do we have anybody calling? Is anybody calling in? Nobody wants to.
I don't think so anymore now.
You know why? Let me tell you why.
We've scared them away.
Mom,
What?
this is
What?
Jason's mom. Are you making fun of my son?
No, Mrs. Downs. Sorry. You know what I believe? Here's my working theory and why nobody's calling in, because we just have the
Tristan's
nicest
such a good
audience
boy.
ever. We just have nice people.
That's a good point.
That listen to the show, and
No, you're
they're
right.
like, no, why do that? So I think that's
They
why nobody's
agree
calling
with
in.
everything we say.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair
That's
enough.
fine.
I'll take that. I was debating how we would even run it. I mean, obviously, this is just a sort of an
We're throwing it out
experiment
there.
here, but I was thinking what we would do is we would let people have 20 seconds. Patty could time them, or you could time them, or I could time them, and just let them, blast us with a velvet glove. I liked what you mentioned.
What did I say
this
the
before.
other day?
You said
I said
you
we're giving
slap us around, but with a velvet glove.
Could you just put on a velvet glove, please?
Right. Yeah.
But otherwise,
tough
yeah.
love. Tough love.
Yeah. But you know
So-
what? All right. So until somebody else calls, what else you got? What your adopted grandmother is not feeling well today.
Well, that's true. She got her second vaccination, and it had some side effects that she's still recovering from. But not anything bad.
Yeah.
But
we don't get to hear her words of wisdom now.
Just didn't feel up for it. That's all.
That's
just
too bad that
so
other
week.
people don't get that luxury. Some
Next
people
week.
still have to do the show.
Next week, yeah, exactly.
Next week.
Yeah, no, we can give her a proper spanking then. But yeah, she should be on next week, as well as our infectious disease expert, Dr. Cohen. So
Awesome.
hopefully that's next week, so everybody can tune in for that.
Okay.
Today in history is something that we often like to do. I often like to pull out some amazing and inspirational stories from the paper, which today was about the first black sheriff in Wyoming's entire history.
In Wyoming.
Yes. Which I thought was super cool.
I lived in South Dakota for 12 years, Wyoming being our next door neighbor, and that would be very strange, especially for that time. What time period was that?
No, I'm saying now.
Now.
He was
Oh,
just.
now!
He
I
was
thought it was
just-
in the history. You said history.
Well, I'm saying a couple of things I like to do is, a today in history kind of thing, and also draw inspirational stories from the current news.
Oh, good
which
Lord.
This one, he was made sheriff in December.
Oh, okay.
And
well, that's not so unusual now. Let me clarify. I want to clarify that it's not unusual now. No,
Because
but good for him.
Yes.
And obviously,
Yes.
how far have we come where he has to have been the first one in 2020?
131 years
Yeah.
that Wyoming has been a state. And
What township or city?
Laramie is
Laramie,
where,
okay.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Nice, good for him.
Yes, sir. His name is Sheriff Applehans.
Oh no.
Sheriff
Well, now you
Applehans.
lost me. Sorry, dude.
Aaron. You can just call him Aaron. Sheriff Aaron. How about that? Sheriff Aaron.
If it's a small town, I mean.
Sheriff Aaron
Oh,
Applehans.
listen.
Applehans.
Oh my. No, it's not tough. What happened to?
He's a nice guy.
know.
I mean, you should hear this guy. I mean, he was such. He says, "I don't necessarily represent or identify with everybody in law enforcement."
Right.
Albany County, Wyoming, is where.
Okay.
Are you familiar? No. Okay.
No.
He says, "I come in with some different ideas of how to go about doing things."
Listen, I think
Just
that's all
seems-
great. I'm not saying he's not that, but listen, Pat Garrett. What does that do for you? See, that's a name to be feared.
Mm-hmm.
But Aaron Applebaum,
Wyatt Earp.
Gogner, what?
Applehans,
Oh.
if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but which I think I am.
Okay.
So you
Don't make him Jewish. Applebaum. He sounds like he's Jewish.
Hey,
No, Applehans.
put your hands up in the air. What do I care?
Hans is how it, like Han Solo.
Okay.
Applehans.
Well, I think he's got
Han Solo.
He's got. I think he's got a lot going for him. It's just a
Absolutely.
shame that the name has to surround that. But, good for him. Can I just say?
Absolutely.
Okay.
He has his main office in the town of Rockridge.
Okay.
Are you looking this up as we speak?
It's in the Mel Brooks Encyclopedia of Great Movies.
Oh no, no! You were worried I was coming up under the line. I see the line, and what is that, Lou? Right there. Holy smokes!
Actually, that's ironic, Lou. Check this out, because someone in the Wyoming, I think he was a state legislator or something like that, made a Blazing Saddles comment.
Of course he did.
And just joking around. And then later had to make an apology.
Yeah.
Because it was obviously
Again, why is there
inappropriate.
the first time ever a black sheriff in Wyoming?
Oh, man.
Exactly. All right, what else you got there?
Well, I mean,
Now, and please clarify before I stick my foot in my mouth that
whether
if
it's
this is
whether it's history or current.
correct.
Okay, no
Thank
problem.
you.
I can do that for you.
Okay.
I can do that for you.
It's appreciated.
Lou will like this. Okay, so today in history, in an effort to raise funds to pay off debts and defend the vast new American territories won from the French in the 7-Year War, this is going back to 1700s, the British government passes the Stamp Act on March 22nd, this very day, 1765.
Who was on the stamp back then?
Who was on it?
George
Yeah.
III.
George III on
Yeah.
the stamp. Okay.
Oh,
And then
gotcha.
like today we had I remember Robin Williams being on one because they were celebrating it. Elvis has stamps.
Okay,
as well.
But I
different,
think
different kind of stamp.
Act, the Stamp Act led to the Boston Tea Party.
And really the revolution, I would say, yes. Yeah, different kind of stamp there, Bobo.
Sorry.
Bobberoonie.
I've got Barbarino.
Barbarino. The legislation levied a direct tax on all materials printed, that's why they called it the Stamp Act, for commercial or legal use in the colonies, newspapers, pamphlets, even playing cards and dice, this sort of thing. This was coupled. I don't know, Lou, how sharp your history is at this time. I'm reading this just to be clear, but
He lived it.
but the but this was coupled with a few other acts, taxes that were happening at the time. The Sugar Act, which levied new duties on imports of textiles, wines, coffee, and sugar. The Currency Act, which caused a major decline in the value of paper money used by colonists, and the Quartering Act in 1765, which required colonists to provide food and lodging to British troops. So it was the four of those, the combination of those that you're right, led to the Boston Tea Party and eventually taxation without representation.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Good for you.
Come on now.
All right, go ahead, Redcoat. What else you got?
Well, we're going to take
Was
a
that
break.
it?
No, it's not it. Lou, do you want to say anything about the Stamp Act?
No. No.
No?
I'm good.
I thought he's like, what?
Okay.
What?
Do we have one more commercial?
No, we actually went through the last.
I've used up all the commercials.
Blue
I mean,
love
I
this.
can maybe buy us maybe like a good 30
No,
seconds.
I don't need you to. I don't
Wait,
need
wait,
you
wait,
to.
wait.
I just,
Commercials. I'm paying for this thing.
yeah, exactly.
And now this particular spot is brought to you by Lou. Don't trust
yeah, Jason-
experience. I don't have it written out in front of me, but you want experience, have experience trust you or something. That's really
when experience counts on experience.
That's the one. So, if you need to get, tell me, Lou, the top 3 things that you work with that somebody would contact you.
I work with? Well, I use a laptop, an iPhone.
My God, I'm giving you this time, Lou.
And earbuds.
Trying to help you out, Lou. Giving you a little time here.
He's a bankruptcy expert and works in commercial law.
Yes, I am one of 165 certified bankruptcy specialists in the state.
Okay, very good.
So, is it okay if I continue, or
Yes, I
did
was
you
just
want
trying to give Lou a little time.
Did you and Lou want to have a private conversation?
I was
No,
just
we're
helping.
good.
Okay, then I'd like to conclude with the Artist's Almanac, which is one of my favorite.
I'm sorry. Did that come out? Well, I thought my mic was
Was
off.
that
I'm sorry.
audible?
Ugh, sorry.
Oh my God.
Oops.
I love this
Was
part.
that an audible or an edible? Oh, it was the edible kicking in.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, well, if that's
Is that
any,
Bobby's edible kicking in?
I think so. If that's any gauge of how the audience reacts whenever I say, "Hey, it's time for the Artist Almanac," then maybe we should reconsider
Listen,
this
no,
segment.
it's not typical. Please go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're running out of time.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So, all right, this is another aspect of humanity that always gives me hope. All right, the ability to create, those creative people that write our favorite TV shows and movies that we've been quoting. The songwriters, the painters, the puzzlers, the authors, again and again, our artists give me hope for humankind. And today, on this day, a truly great artist. We're going to honor 2 great artists today. One is Stephen Sondheim, born March 22nd, this very day, 1930. He's turning 91. He's an American composer and lyricist known for his work mainly in musical theater. Now, I mean, this guy, his accomplishments are pretty incredible. And I think if you asked anyone in the musical theater world, I mean, you're a singer and you're a big music fan, they would say he is the greatest living songwriter, certainly for musicals, hands down, right? I mean, no?
I think there's a couple that have also risen to the
Like?
top of that.
Like?
Don't ask me like.
Okay, like Andrew Lloyd Webber?
Danny
Okay.
Elfman. No, I'm kidding.
Mel Brooks.
Yeah, no, Mel Brooks. They're great. They're great.
Yeah. But they're saying he's the king.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
I'd say so.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's the greatest living. Like they gave Bob Dylan a Nobel Prize for literature. I guess it was a few years ago, Lou. Anyway, in my opinion, if that's the precedent, because it's usually reserved for poets and authors and this sort of thing, I kind of feel like Stephen Sondheim could be in line for a Nobel. I mean, that's
all right.
He wrote the lyrics. This is how he broke onto the scene. He wrote the lyrics to West Side Story. Leonard Bernstein wrote the music.
Right.
He wrote the lyric. He also wrote the lyric for Gypsy not long after that. And then he went on to compose and write the lyrics for A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, Company, Follies, A Little Night Music, Sweeney Todd, Sunday in the Park with George, and Into the Woods. So anyhow, I mean, he's won eight Tony Awards, I believe, an Academy Award, 8 Grammy Awards, a Pulitzer Prize. Anyhow, the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2015. Just an amazing career, and we're honored to have him. Finally, Robert Frost.
Yes.
He's born March 26, 1874. A few days from now, an American poet, also just a giant known around the world for his poetry. One of those that sort of, like Sondheim, I guess, realized fame, which is unusual, I think, especially for a poet. The kind of fame that that he has. It's funny because I think poets themselves see Robert Frost as sort of a dark, almost ironic kind of writer, whereas the rest of us, lay people, just sort of buy into this idyllic, earthy kind of American version that we see of him. And anyhow, let me just read.
Please do.
One of his all-time faves, The Road Not Taken. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet, knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh somewhere ages and ages hence. 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference.
Well, see, that was sweet. Nice.
Robert Frost.
He wrote real good, didn't he, that guy?
He sure did. As always, like to thank Denny & Company, LLP, Certified Public Accountants. They make your life less taxing. 661-286-8860. The law offices of Lou Esbin. When experience counts, count on experience at espinlaw.com. As always, thank you to Jerry and Carl, owners of KHTS, our fantastic engineer, Patty St. Patrick O'Schwanke, Bobby Marchesso, for joining us again in the studio.
Thank you.
A pleasure to have you here on Common Ground, where we can always agree on the important stuff. I'm Jason Downs. You're listening to KHTS. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed, and stay optimistic.